Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back if you are a returning subscriber, and if you are new, then just welcome. On the 10th of April, Shannon Wasserfall, a 20-year-old mom of one, disappeared from her home in Walvish Bay. Azan and Shannon had been friends for a while. They have known each other for a while. Shannon's son was going to stop breastfeeding, going to start eating solid food now. They both decided that it's a good idea to take the child to Azan's place because Azan is a family friend, and also Azan is his godmother. Around midday, Azan came by. She came to pick up Shannon and her son to take them to her place. Shannon's boyfriend was left behind. It was the last time he saw Shannon alive. They arrived at Azan's place. They relaxed, had a bottle of wine. Later they changed to some strawberry lips. They were really having a good time. Shannon decided that she wants to continue the party elsewhere. She left Azan's flat. She told Azan that she's going to come back after a couple of hours. She left her son with Azan. She went to her friend, went there for a couple of hours like she promised. She came back to Azan's place. Remember, the people that were present there that day are Azan, Shannon, who is deceased, and Shannon's 1-year-old son, who at that point or at that time was so young, probably even couldn't comprehend what was happening in front of him. Shannon came back and she was intoxicated. Azan was trying to paint this picture of Shannon being this person who is the aggressor in this case. That Shannon was the one who was trying to beat her. She was the one who was trying to fight. She was the one who was being aggressive. For me, I was just trying to defend myself. For me personally, this is the picture that she was trying to paint. You could never truly know what happened that night. The argument started off in the kitchen. It proceeded to the bedroom. When it got to the bedroom, they were pushing each other back and forth. According to Azan, Shannon is the one who pushed her first, and then she retaliated, and they started to push each other back and forth, more aggressive as they got closer to the bedroom. Shannon tripped. Shannon stumbled and she fell on the other side of the bed, and when she fell on the other side of the bed, she hit her head on something hard, concrete on the floor, and Shannon passed out. She was unconscious. She went over to Shannon. She shook her awake, was saying, "Shannon, wake up, please." They called her Daliki. I was like, that is a very beautiful name. They called her Daliki, and she was like, "Daliki, please don't play like this. Wake up." And she was not waking up. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I'm sitting here right now talking about this case today is because Shannon never woke up that day. After a couple of minutes of her trying to shake her back to consciousness, she eventually came to a conclusion that this is not working. Shannon is not waking up, and she decided to work on her next step. What I would do, call the police, call the ambulance, trying to get help so that they can maybe try to resuscitate her or try to do something to try to bring her back to life. She decided that she's going to call her brother, Stephen Malundu. She called her brother, came to the house. He saw her standing outside. As he was walking closer to the house, he saw her. He saw that she was like so devastated. She was so shocked. She was shaking. He asked her what is going on. She said, "Get into the house, go see what happened in there." He went to the bedroom. She was laying on the ground, but then she was facing up. According to Madizia Azan, Shannon was on her side. So those two statements were contradicting, and they decided to go ahead with the plan of wrapping her up in a blanket, and they put her body in the back of the car. They drove off into the dunes at 3 a.m. in the morning. They dug up a shallow grave and they buried Shannon's body. All this happened on the 10th of April. All this happened in one day. On the 11th of April, Shannon's boyfriend called Azan. He called Azan because he knew that Shannon was supposed to be with Azan. Whereby Azan responded and she said, "I don't know where Shannon is, to be honest. Last night Shannon left to go drink with her other friends and Shannon never came back. So I honestly have no idea where she is." Then he started to call all of Shannon's friends that he knew, and he also called Shannon's family to inform them that he can't find Shannon. He doesn't know where Shannon is. This is on the 11th, literally the next day. They all came together and then they started to look for Shannon. On the 13th of April, this is when the whole public became aware of Shannon's disappearance. This is when we all knew that Shannon was missing, because the posters were literally everywhere. There were flyers on Facebook, there were flyers on Instagram, there were flyers on YouTube. There's literally no social media out there that you will go to that you will not find a missing Shannon Wasserfall's flyer. Right, so now 6 months later, we are talking half a year, Shannon's father, he was working in Windhoek, received a ping on his phone. It was a text message from an anonymous text message telling him where to find Shannon's body. He took this message straight to the police. He did not waste any time. He went over to the police officers. He said, "This is what I got." He showed them the text message. The police officers, luckily and thankfully, took this very seriously. They did not play. They went over to MTC and they said, "Trace where this number is coming from. Take us to the owner of this number." MTC did, and this number pointed to none other than Azan Madisia, Shannon's best friend, aka her son's godmother. When the police got this piece of information, then rushed over to Azan's place and then they arrested her immediately. After Azan was arrested, she did not waste any time. She confessed to everything. She wrote confession letters. While she was detained, she wrote a bunch of confession letters. There were actually 4 in total in record that the police officers know of. Now, these letters that she wrote, she did not actually write them to Azan's family. She did not write them to Azan's friend. She did not write them to Azan's father nor Azan's mother. She did not even write this or one letter to her own godchild. Guess who she wrote these letters to? She wrote them to Shopala. So, according to the two of them, in 2019, there was a time that Shannon went to go stay in Windhoek. While Shannon is staying in Windhoek in 2019, Azan and Shopala had a thing going on for a while. Shopala says that what they had was not serious. Azan, however, she was like, it was so serious that she decided that she is going to leave Shopala for Shannon, because Shopala decided that he wants to focus on him and Shannon's relationship. So he was like, I don't want this thing between us to continue because I want to focus on the other relationship. She was okay with everything. Shopala on the other side was just like, no, it wasn't really that serious. It was just sex, really. So Stephen Malundu, in my opinion, was a very sad case of you helping out a sibling. It's one of those scenarios whereby you think, what will I do if my brother calls me up, or if my sister calls me up, or if my partner calls me up and say, yo, hey, I have something that we need to clean up, I have something that we need to take care of. You come there and it's a dead body. What will you do? Will you walk away or will you help them? Stephen did what most brothers would do for their sisters. He helped his sister, and this got him into really, really hot waters. Talk about the evidence. The evidence with Azan was, first of all, the only last person to see Shannon alive. After you saw Shannon alive, nobody else saw Shannon alive, so that was very suspicious. Also, Shannon's phone, she took Shannon's phone and then she went to go throw it in a dustbin. I think she was trying to paint a picture of Shannon probably got attacked and then she got robbed, and that is probably the direction that she wanted the police to take. The location, when the police officers searched the SIM card and then they searched the address and it was Azan's address, that was also very damning. Court did this. The court gave Adizia 6 years and then Stephen 4. So these years that Azan got were for the taking the body and hiding it. That was the charge, obstruction of justice. Yeah, that's what they call it. It was for the obstruction of justice, and this is also the same sentence that Stephen got because they hid the evidence. So for that, you obstructed the course of justice. Those were the charges that they both got. They were not charged for murder simply because there was not enough evidence to charge them for the murder. The evidence that was there was Shannon's body, which after 6 months was so severely decayed decomposed that the forensics couldn't really quite determine what was her cause of death. They were actually unable to say that, okay, this is how she died, and because she died this way, then we can determine whether it was an accident or not. Because the court believed Azan when she said that it was an accident due to the evidence that was presented to them. The court does not work on emotion, it works on facts. You need to present them with hardcore evidence so that you can prove, you need to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that black is black and white is white. It was not proven because state prosecution failed to bring forth concrete evidence to prove that this was intentional. Another thing also was the fact that on the 5th of April 2020, Azan Googled at 1 degrees do bones turn to ashes, and she was googling really weird stuff. This was discovered after her devices were confiscated after she got arrested. IT technicians went into her devices and then they pull up all these Google searches, and on the 5th of April, mind you, Shannon disappeared on the 10th of April, but on the 5th of April, Azan was going around googling at what degrees do bones turn to ashes. Why would you need that information for? Why would you? Maybe it's one of those 2 a.m. thoughts, I don't know, but yeah. So yeah, man. And for me, I understand the whole accident part. Accidents do happen, shit happens, right? I get that, but what I don't understand is it took her really long for her to come forward with the information. If you claim that you are sincerely sorry, because the court believed that she is remorseful, that's what the judges said. They believed that she was really remorseful, and yes, you could say that she was remorseful, but my thing is, why did it take you 6 months for you to come forward with the information? And even so, you came forward indirectly. You did not come forward and say that, listen, my conscience is killing me, right? I did this, and this person was my friend, she was my best friend, I was her child's godmother, I truly loved this person, and I did this to this person, and I want her to get justice. That is what she deserved. Shannon did not deserve to die. Nobody deserves to die. So if you couldn't respect her enough while she was alive, to the point whereby you were sleeping around with her baby's father behind her back while she was still alive, you should have respected her enough even after her death and not treat her body this dead way. She was buried in the middle of nowhere in a shallow grave while her family was mourning. Azan was going around posting missing persons posters on her social media page. And the other piece of evidence that was presented to court was the forensics evidence. The DNA samples that were taken from her body came back. Couldn't use these DNA samples because the DNA samples couldn't determine what her cause of death was because her body was severely decomposed. They did not have the advanced technology to find out as to what was her cause of death. Now, I recently found out that if you want to get DNA samples from South Africa, it costs right about $9,000 to $10,000 per sample, and I was like, that is crazy, because back then I found this out when I was researching about the Abihe Uyaha's case. This is when I find this out, and I was like, what? This is crazy. This was back then. I don't know now what the requirements are or what the amount is, but back then it was like rough about $10,000. This is a lot of money. The state didn't have a strong case, and because of this, Azan got what she got. The public were furious. They were not having it, and this gave birth to hashtag Shut It Down movement. It was a movement that was created by Namibian individuals who have had enough. They have had enough regarding the domestic violence against women, children being killed, and all that. Femicide, basically, in Namibian, the rate of femicide in Namibia is crazy. It's skyrocket, and they were tired of this, and they formed this movement. And this movement really, oh my goodness, they did the most. It was so beautiful to see. They went on the streets, they went on a peaceful protest, by the way, and they were met by the Namibian Defense Force, tear gases and rubber bullets everywhere. For what reason, I don't know, but that happened. So yeah, And that is also another really common theme. Namibian police officers, they meet peaceful protesters with rubber bullets and tear gas. I don't know why. These people are peaceful. They are not here for violence, but then you are receiving them with violence. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I stand by the fact that really justice was not really served in this case. It could have been served better. It was not served, really. It wasn't served at all. I really feel sorry for Shannon's family. They were really outraged. I saw the clips from after the court session. They were outraged. Her father was really devastated. Her family were devastated. They really felt like Shannon did not get the justice that she deserved. I wanted to bring Shannon's case back to life because I feel like it's an example of how the justice system really sometimes does not really serve the people that it's supposed to serve, and it fails people who are vulnerable. And yeah, so sometimes make an example. Really, I want this justice system to make an example and say that women are so protected and we take them so seriously in our country that if you kill one of them, you're gonna suffer severely. Maybe then the rate will decrease and it won't be as high as it is right now, because now people will see that, okay, killing women and children in this country is so serious that you will get into so much trouble. That's just my opinion, really. So yeah, for me, trust, what I took away from this case is trust. Trust is a very fragile thing, and in this case, it was betrayed, it was broken. Chopala is the baby daddy. If you were to look at this closely, you will figure out that he was at the center of it all because he was busy with Shannon and Azan at the same time. He was busy playing these two women. Shannon had no idea what was going on between the two of them, but they knew. They knew what they were busy with, but she didn't know. So she deserved better, in my opinion. And the fact that Azan didn't apologize to the other family members but only apologized to Chopala 4 times, not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times. She wrote a letter again and again and again that we know of. How many more letters did she write that we don't know of, that she wrote to Chopala apologizing to Chopala for Shannon's death? In this letter, all she could say was how bad she felt every time she saw him, how heartbroken it is for her to see him heartbroken. It was just crazy. I was just like, what? Yeah. And also another thing is, when I was researching this case and then I was going through the social media posts, I was going through the comment section, and then most of the comment section were talking about how her dress code is, and I was so surprised how people were more concerned about how her dress code was. They were talking about how well she represented herself in court. Like, she really looked good. I'm not gonna lie, I saw the pictures, she looked good. And I'm just like, why are we focused on her dress code right now? This is the least of our worries. But anyway, yeah, this is it. And thank you so much, guys, for spending time with me. If you have reached until here, I deserve a subscription, so subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share your thoughts. What do you guys think? I am going to see you guys in my next video. So bye.